Welcome. Thank you. Welcome to the Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Successor Agency, Calexico Financing Authority regular meeting agenda for Wednesday, May the 2nd, and it's a little past 5:43 p.m. City Clerk, if you'd like to take note.
Mayor Hurtado?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Pacheco?
Here.
Councilmember Escobar?
Here.
Councilmember Hodge?
Here.
Councilmember Real is absent. We have a quorum here.
Okay, thank you. This is the closed session agenda portion of our meeting. Public comments not to exceed 3 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the City Council on closed session items only. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name and place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay the council meeting with personal or slanderous remarks. The City Council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not included on the printed agenda. Please direct your questions and comments to the City Council. And City Clerk, do we have any public comments? We do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, Mr. Acuña.
Hello. Good evening, Sean Acuña, Calexico Police Officers Association. Good evening to the members of the council. Just want to say I know you're going into closed session to discuss contract negotiations. I just want to let you know we had a good dialogue with the city manager, Mr. Dale, on Monday. And if you would just keep in mind that the CPOA has always stepped up to the plate when there's been a conflict in the city financially, and we're willing to do that again. And so I want you to bear that in mind as you go into closed session, that we're willing to make the necessary concession to prevent outsourcing. And that's all I'd like to say.
Thank you.
Good, Mr. Acuña. Any other comments before? Alrighty, we shall go into closed session. Be right back. Welcome. Thank you so much for your patience. Welcome to the Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Successor Agency, Calexico Financing Authority regular session agenda meeting. It is a little past our time. It is 6:52 p.m. City Clerk, if you'd like to please call our meeting to order.
Mayor Hurtado?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Pacheco?
Here.
Councilmember Escobar?
Here.
Councilmember Hodge?
Here.
Councilmember Real?
Here.
We have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you. May you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have?
Together, we pledge
To provide effective and efficient services in a courteous and respectful manner
to
to improve the quality of life for all in our unique border community.
Viva Calexico!
Thank you. Thank you, City Manager.
Do we have an invocation?
Yes, we have an invocation today. Do we? No? No invocation today? No invocation today.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I'll just say something quickly. God bless Calexico. Okay, City Attorney, could you please provide us with the closed session announcements?
Thank you, Mayor. City Council been in closed session on the 5 items described on today's agenda. We did receive direction, but no reportable actions were taken. Thank you.
Okay, may I please have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
First by Mr. Real, second by Mr. Hodge. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Announcements. These proceedings may be viewed on the City of Calexico website at www.calexico.ca.gov the Friday following the City Council meeting. Today we'll start with a couple of presentations. Today we'll start then with item number 6, which is our proclamation of Police Week, which is May the 13th, 2018 to May the 19th of 2013. So, just a second. Everybody ready? Okay, National Police Week, May 13th to May 19th, 2018. Whereas the Congress and President of the United States has designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. And
whereas the members of the Calexico Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of the city of Calexico, and
whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency, and that members of our law enforcement agency recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And
whereas the men and women of the Calexico Police Department unceasingly provide a vital public service, now therefore be it resolved, the City Council, the City of Calexico call upon all citizens of Calexico and upon all patriotic, civic, and educational organizations to observe the week of Sunday, May 13th to Saturday, May 19th, 2018 as National Police Week, with appropriate ceremonies and observations in which all of our people may join in commemorating law enforcement officers, past and present, who, by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities, have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and in so doing, have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all citizens.
City Council further calls upon all citizens of Calexico to observe May 15th as Police Officers Memorial Day in honor of those law enforcement officers who, throughout their courageous deeds, have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community or have become disabled in the performance of duty. And let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of those fallen heroes.
in witness whereof, I, Marita Hurtado, Mayor of the City of Calexico, hereunto affix my signature and official seal of the City of Calexico on the 2nd day of May, 2018. Congratulations.
No.
Honorable City Council, Mayor, Council members, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Gonzalo Gerardo. Everybody knows me as Chalo. I'm your interim chief of police. And I'm very honored, on behalf of the Calexico Police Department, to receive this proclamation. For some of us that have been in law enforcement for over 27 years, and some of us have been here for only months, it's the same. We all go through the same emotions. We all go through the same sacrifices every day. Some of us get lucky and get to be my age and move on and hopefully retire soon. And then you have some of them that are just beginning their career. I would like to take this moment, since we have a new city manager here, and I see some of his vision. I like the fact that we do a lot of things different than we used to do in Calexico. So I don't want to have that stigma in my department as only in Calexico. in a bad way. I want them to say, only in Calexico can you get the police service, only in Calexico do you get recognized for doing a job. I would like to introduce to you my staff that is currently working for me. This is the first time it's ever been done for the city of Calexico. Everybody sees them on the street but don't know who they are. I'm going to start off with my support staff. Without these people, my officers can't do their job on the street. And the people that you call when you need assistance, you call my dispatchers. Can you please stand up real quick? I have a couple of dispatchers, Carmen Parra and Veronica Valenzuela, Noelia Talamantes. These ladies do an excellent job. Okay. And then I would like to present to you some of my clerks and my traffic controllers. You got Brenda Zuniga over there. She's married now. I'm sorry, Berenice. And Kevin, please stand up. Who else is here from my traffic control unit?
Oh, traffic control.
So I guess they're only here because they were probably working traffic. But that's Berenice, I'm sorry. My administrative assistant, Marta Gutierrez. And let's not forget my animal control officers, who you guys probably deal with the most, Cesar Oropesa and Julio Castillo. And then I'll name my officers. I got Mario Villapadua, Detective Orozco. I have Mr. Officer Gonzalez, Officer Reese, Officer Cole, Sean Acuna, Officer Sundal, my twin, Officer Hernandez. And my Officer of the Year that was named by the Elks this past week, he was Officer of the Year for the City of Calexico, recognized by the El Centro Elks, Officer Miguel Carvajal and his son. Again, I took this time, I'm sorry, Mr. Dale, for doing it, but I think since we're recognizing the proclamation, it's time for me to start recognizing some of the people that work for the city and work for me and work for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gerardo, and thank you to all of you, and congratulations on your week. Thank you. Okay, item number 7, I think we're ready for that one, Gabby? Item number 7 is a presentation on the 2018 Imperial County Local Transportation Authority proposed LTA Measure D bond financing.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is Carmen Vargas. I'm a Senior Vice President with Ramirez and Company. I manage their public finance practice in California. And also here today with me is Don Hunt. He's serving as Bond and Disclosure Counsel on the LTA financing and also is helping me turn the pages of the presentation. Today we're here to present to the City Council on the proposed Imperial County Local Transportation Authority. You have the presentation in your packets as well as on the screen for the public to see. The first page, we note a bit of history on the Measure D sales tax. In 1989, the initial sales tax, Measure D, was passed by voters. And that ran for a duration of 20 years through 2010. And if you remember, in 2010, there was an extension Measure D ordinance that passed by 81% approval to extend the sales tax Measure D out through 2050. Expenditure plans were adopted through with the local agencies as well as the county. And they were funds for transportation programs and projects. Since 1990, Measure D has provided funding for local projects, including pedestrian and bicycle safety projects, pavement rehabilitation, intersection and traffic signal improvements, safe routes to schools, and contributions to regional highway projects. Measure D gives the Imperial County Local Transportation Authority the authority to issue bonds for projects. The collection of Measure D sales tax is administered through the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration, formerly known as the Board of Equalization. So the authority and now the CDTFA have entered into an agreement whereby the sales tax revenues directly go to a bond trustee that will then deduct payments that are authorized under Measure D, and then will go to pay bonds. And we'll talk a little bit about the detail of how that works. Don, we can probably go to the next slide. Yeah. A little bit of history on the City of Calexico's participation in the last LTA bond, which was in 2002. The city issued about a little over 15 million in bonds, of which 14.1 million proceeds were received, along with the other participants that were involved in the financing, including the City of Brawley, Calipatria, Imperial, and the county. And this may be a little tough to see from the audience, but basically this shows the flow of funds and shows the security with respect to the sales tax revenues. Basically, when individuals go and pay sales tax on any type of transaction that's issued, it goes to the State Board of Equalization. That's collected there, and then it will go directly to the bond trustee, which in effect creates the security that any of these revenues received will not be transferred to any other projects or any other entity. So off the top, it goes to the authority where in the ordinance you have 1% of administrative fees, 5% of state highway improvements, 2% for transit, and then revenues for the non-participating agencies. Calexico's revenue go directly to pay Calexico's bonds. They don't go. You're not sharing them with any other local agency. They're directly used to pay your bonds, and then you would receive any residual revenues. So in this 2018 proposed bond issuance, we're currently continuing discussions with other local agencies. Currently, we have the City of Calexico, Hopeville, and Calipatria fully having been involved in some of the initial discussions. We're continuing discussions with Brawley, Imperial, and the county. But really, the purpose of this meeting today, this presentation, is to give the council a sense of what discussions have been occurring so that with the city manager's leadership, we would be able to bring back the bond documents, proposed bond documents to the council in a few weeks. So here's the detail of what the city would be looking at. Basically, that's a little small for me. So the city would be looking at issuing a bond a little over $9 million. And with that, you would receive $10.5 million for projects. The way we structured it was we assumed the 2017 sales tax revenues, didn't assume any growth on that, which is fairly conservative. And then it's effectively a wrap structure. So if you look at the third column on the chart to the right, that's your existing debt. That's already what you're paying through your revenues. And if you look at the column after that, the proposed debt service, we're effectively wrapping the additional debt around your current debt so that it's effectively an extension of another 6 years of bonds in the back end. And we have a coverage of 130, which is standard for the current rating that the LTA financing has, which is A+. And then we show the remaining revenue, so that after you're paying the bonds, you're still looking at revenue just under $500,000 per year until the bonds are paid off, and then you'd go back to, assuming no growth, would go back to about $2 million a year for pay-as-you-go projects. And so as we mentioned, we plan on coming back to the council in a few weeks with the proposed bond documents, and then we would proceed with additional items that are needed, rating agency presentation, and as well as the Local Transportation Authority approval of bond documents as well. With that, I'll turn it over to City Manager for any comments, questions.
Could you explain what Measure D funds are, what they're meant for, and how they're used?
Right. So Measure D funds, they're basically used for transportation projects. So Don, I believe it's for street improvements, road improvement, routes, we said alleyways we can do. So anything that really needs rehabilitation. And the bonds were initially done because you can effectively get a large amount of money up front, and so that you can take care of some projects that really need attention as construction costs continue to rise. That's really why the LTA, with their board go-ahead, had wanted us to continue to talk to the cities and other local agencies.
And those are the projects that we're doing right now. You see the street projects, they're funded by Measure D, the bond that we took out in 2010. That's how those projects are being funded. So we're looking to fund future projects in the next 3 years with this bond.
And Don's here as well for any questions.
Any questions, gentlemen?
You'll see this in the agenda next time, May 16th.
Alrighty. Any questions?
No.
Good?
No, it's a good deal.
Maybe include a update on the capital improvements plan, because a lot of these funds will be used within the capital improvements plan.
Well, only in streets, but yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alrighty. We are now at the public comments portion of the meeting. Public comments and public appearances, note not to exceed 3 minutes. At this time, we will be receiving the public for addressing the City Council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name and place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay the council meeting with personal or slanderous remarks. If the item you wish to comment on is a consent item, please comment now. The City Council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not included on the printed agenda. If the item you wish to comment on is on the public portion of the agenda, we will take your comment when we get to that item on the agenda. Please direct your questions and comments to the City Council. We have several, so we'll get started. With the first, I have Yolanda Robles. Both microphones are working at this time? Yes?
Yep.
Thank you. Oh. Ready? You start.
Good evening, City Council members. Good evening, committee members. My name is Yolanda Robles, and I am here representing Calexico High School. I'm the school site council president, and I am here to discuss a very important issue in regards of security at our school. We understand that there are some changes planning to be with Calexico Police Department, and having the local officers at our local sites, and with the experience that already they have in our schools, it seems to be very effective. In regards with the recent shootings that have happened in other schools, We feel that it's time that we collaborate with the police department, and so far we have done a very good connection with that. We do not want to interrupt the progress that they have already made with our students. Our current officers are often seen in our schools, are very proactive. As a matter of fact, students feel comfortable coming over and talking to them, which is something very peculiar at this age and time when students don't feel that they cannot trust many people. Parents, as you can see, we're very few, but we're here to support this, and we want to continue seeing the support of the Calexico Police Department, especially Officer Hernandez. And we will feel very comfortable if the way that things are running will stay. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Sandra Flores, please.
Buenas tardes, miembros de la ciudad de Calexico. Mi nombre es Sandra Flores, soy residente de Calexico y venimos por medio de estas firmas, los residentes de las haciendas de Calexico. Amablemente pedimos al concilio de la ciudad que nos arreglen con pavimento las calles de Sam Ellis, Centinela, Las Haciendas, Sierra Nevada Drive y River Drive. Nuestras calles están en vecindad, están cubiertas con revestimiento, lo cual ha causado la formación de hoyos en ciertas calles. Por si fuera poco, gran cantidad de piedras se han desprendido de nuestras calles por el gran tráfico que hay en la hora pico y al pasar los carros. Frecuentemente estas piedras son lanzadas contra nuestros autos y hasta en ocasiones contra personas que caminan por nuestras calles. En temporada de lluvia hay zonas en nuestra vecindad que se inundan completamente a causa de los hoyos que se han formado por los años. Por estas razones pedimos con urgencia e inexistencia al concilio de Calexico que considere nuestras peticiones de arreglar nuestras calles con pavimento. Atentamente, residentes de las haciendas en Calexico. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, señora.
Mr. Dale, can we look into these streets that the young lady mentioned and see if they're in her capital improvements project? And if they're not, can we?
It comes in the time that we're talking about these Measure D funds, this would fit perfectly.
Lo que dice el administrador de la ciudad sobre sus comentarios es de que ahorita acabamos de mirar una presentación sobre los fondos que estamos usando para la arreglada de las calles y ese es algo que estamos al pendiente, pero a cualquier momento ustedes pueden comunicarse con el city manager, señor David Dale. Okay? Just letting them know that they can contact you with regard to that. Muchas gracias por su presencia, gracias por ser activos. Gracias. Poquito. Mr. Ben Horton.
Just for your information, I did give you what my public comments is going to be about, and I'll kind of paraphrase it so it won't take up all the time. First, I'd like to give a great congratulations to Javier Gonzalez for the Arbor Day at the Kennedy Gardens. I might want to point out that Kennedy Gardens, as a subdivision, they put the example for the rest of the city to reach for what they are capable of doing and what they can do. They have to be very much committed, and Javier Gonzalez also in that part. The next thing I want to do is acknowledge Mr. Garcia. The last city council meeting, he talked about the safety in our schools. He talked about what was needed in reference to the crosswalk. And in reference to the police department, what can I say about our people in blue? and what they are doing for the school. A good example of what they said earlier in this meeting. The next part I want to talk about is our commission. For some reason, I heard that some city council persons are saying that the commissions are not running efficiently. Well, I might want to point out to them is that the city council is responsible and the kind of people they vet in order to appoint to the commissions. Something must be said about that. And I might point out a couple of meetings ago, I offered to write lesson plans for the commissions to train them and to present them to the city manager for his approval to move forward. You can't do anything unless you're properly trained or instructed to do your job. And these are some of the things that I hold very dear, especially for the city council and especially for the commissions. The commissions are a voice for the city, the voice of the community. How many times do I have people come up to me and ask about what's going on, and they wonder if I can do anything about it? And I'm sure that some of the city council, especially the person that appoints me, sometimes I wear her ear off about saying what somebody's told me that needs to be done. We are a voice of the community. We are the heartbeat of the community. And I hope that the city council will give me the opportunity to put some lesson plans together to move forward for the training and for also to look at how do they vet the people they're going to appoint. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Horton. Mr. Tony Tirado? There he is. I was looking for him.
Good afternoon, Mayor Hurtado, members of the City Council, City Manager, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tony Tirado, residents of Calexico. We have an open letter here inviting the city to have an open hearing for a town hall meeting that we have, and it follows this way. As one of your constituents and on behalf of the residents of Calexico, we are requesting to have a town meeting to address a circulating rumor that our police department will soon be eliminated and be replaced by Imperial County Department, Sheriff Department. We find it is incumbent upon the city leaders to keep our citizens well informed and in a fairly timely manner regarding matters as such important as this. Okay? We find it at odds that during the State of the City address on Monday, April the 16th, 2018, the topic was not even mentioned. Now, if not true, then the rumor needs to be dispelled. We're requesting this meeting in behalf of the rest of Calexico to acknowledge the urgency that we have with our police department, but not only the police department, fire department, and everything else. Okay? So we need a meeting on a Tuesday, preferably 6 p.m., so we can discuss with the people's concerns as to the economy of this city, as to where we are and where we want to go, and want to go in the right direction. Thank you very much. Okay.
Gracias, señor Tirado. Benino Martínez.
Thank the council for allowing me to speak and to talk about the issue of the police department. As a teacher at Calexico High School, we have been going through some training. And we have trained to work with the police department when there's any kind of instances at the school, whether it's fires, whether it's earthquakes, or whether you have other kinds of issues that may occur as would happen in Florida. And one of the things is that we've trained with that unit. And if we begin to have to change that, then we're really going to have some difficulties if there ever is a major issue at the high school. And we really would like to have the police department remain, because they've worked with us, they've trained with us, and we know the teachers, all the teachers have been trained on it, the staff, the administration, and we're willing to work together as a unit to honor their major issues. Thank you.
Howard Fitchell?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I also want to talk about the Calexico Police Department. We're fortunate to have the school resource officer, Officer Hernandez, that Joanne mentioned earlier. The school resource officers, they've served many roles. As law enforcement, they promote safety in and around the school, and they also serve as a liaison between the school and the outside agencies that we would deal with. They're also informal counselors. As they walk around the campus, they build relationships and build positive behaviors. In addition, they also work as emergency management representatives. They help develop and assist with safety plans for the school. Mr. Martinez mentioned some of those that we've been working with all the teachers. So prior to becoming a teacher at Calexico High School, my background is with the military. I'm a retired naval officer, and my role in the military was law enforcement. I've got over 20 years experience. And I can tell you that having local law enforcement officers that are familiar with the community and the citizens of the community, it's paramount for the safety. So not only for the community, but for the school specific, it's essential that we keep Calexico PD in the schools, providing safety for our children. Safety is one of our basic needs. So when a child's safety is compromised, that need is compounded with the parents of those students. So I would ask that when this does come up again, that we keep our Calexico PD as they are. Thank you.
Alrighty. Next is Mr. Carlos Gonzalez.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, councilmen, members. I'm here to talk in regards to the Calexico Police Department. And I'm here to commend the hard work and the safety that the Calexico Police Department provides to our students in the Calexico Unified School District. You know, I've been lucky to be a principal of many school sites here in Calexico, and I can tell you that they've always been incredibly responsive. Anytime that we've needed their assistance, they always respond immediately. The other thing is, you know, our police officers are true role models for our students. They are passionate, they are committed, and you can definitely see this when they're serving our students in Calexico and providing that safety. You know, most recently, as many of you are aware, we had the nationwide strikes that were going on. And I'd like to commend Interim Chief Gerardo. He was instrumental in being a liaison between the district and Calexico Police Department to provide that safety, those contingency plans that we needed in order to make sure that our students were safe during that time. We also were able to create joint letters of communication that we sent out to the community. And I think this is very powerful because it shows our community that we have the support of the local Calexico Police Department, which is providing that safety for our students. Also, I'd like to commend our school resource officer, Hernandez, and all the officers that are here. Again, lately, there's been a lot of social media threats as well, and it's unbelievable, and I'd like to commend all of our officers that have responded to look into those potential threats, and those threats, have been unsubstantiated, but again, with their help and support, there is a sense of security and safety because they are addressing those concerns. And just lastly, again, I'd like to commend the Calexico Police Department for their incredible work in providing the safety that they do to our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Cynthia Salgado?
Good evening, City of Calexico Council members. My name is Cynthia Salgado, and I have worked with the youth and families of Calexico as an academic counselor since 2006, and for the last 5 years as an assistant principal for Calexico High School. Student safety is my #1 priority. According to the mission of the City Council, it is your #1 priority to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of Calexico. My personal experience as an educator has been continuous support from Calexico police officers and resource officers, countless situations where they have responded and supported. The officers know our students, the community, and the challenges they face. They are knowledgeable and have been positive role models for our students. On numerous occasions, they have also supported with assemblies and presentations. Interrupting the current support that we receive will negatively affect the community, more importantly, the youth of Calexico. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Gabrielle Williams?
Good evening, council members. My name is Gabrielle Williams, and I'm principal at Calexico High School, where I serve over 3,000 students in our community. I've also been a school administrator for Calexico for 14 years, and I have lived in this city for over 30 years as well. Now, where I come from in education, we strive to make decisions that are effective, that are based on research and based on data. And one of the most established effective and powerful strategies in education is that of fostering productive human relationships. A student with a productive student relationship is going to perform a lot better than those students who do not get to build a productive relationship with an adult. And in my 14 years as an administrator for the Calexico Unified School District, I have collaborated with the Calexico Police Department. I have had the privilege to work with 4 school resource officers during my tenure, and they have been effective in their support to students because they have fostered that productive relationship with students. They understand our school community and the daily challenges of our students, and because of that knowledge and that relationship that they have fostered, they have also showed empathy and the time to listen to our students. As a result, they are effective and they are resourceful in helping me and my team prioritize student safety and minimize student issues on our campus. As a school administrator, my priority and responsibility is to ensure the safety and security of over 3,000 students, over 300 employees. The SROs in the past and currently, including police department officers, have played a key role in school by communicating and tailoring interventions that are focused on safety. They understand, again, the needs and the challenges of our student community. They devise appropriate responses to offenses such as truancy, defiance, and other school violations. SROs in our Calexico Police Department has helped me and my team to make our school more secure by assessing risks and working with school staff as we develop school crisis and interventions. And as you can imagine, there's been a lot going on in the last couple of months. With the ongoing collaboration of the team of the Calexico Police Department and our current SRO officer, Hernandez, they knowing our community, it has allowed me and my team to be proactive. Overall, the Calexico PD officers, they understand this educational strategy, which is to foster productive human relationships in the audience that they serve. Me and my team are appreciative of the efforts and the support that we have received from them in making our schools safe, and I'm appreciative of the personal interest that they take and support our student community. Thank you.
Okay, Sean, your turn. Keep it rolling, Sean.
Members of the council and the community, I'm Sean Acuna, president of the Calexico Police Officers Association, and I want to thank the outpour of support from our educators and members of the community. And you know, the one theme that everybody talked about was the established relationship the Calexico Police Department has with the community and has with our students and educators, and that you cannot replace that. So I'm here to tell you that we are currently negotiating with the city manager to come to a resolution so we can prevent outsourcing. And we have the ability to do it, and I look forward to being able to make that happen. Thank you.
Short and sweet. Mr. Kim, June Kim. Mr. Kim, you provided two. One is for public comments right now, and the other one will be for item number 13?
Yeah,
is that correct?
I got three.
Okay.
I got three requests.
I only saw two, Mr. Kim.
Well, it's 17 then. I can put the 17.
Okay, I'll remember.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, council and citizens. And I see a lot of people engaging today. I'm glad people are waking because the council did a good job for alerting the people. And some people know I'm campaigning. They don't listen. They don't listen any political issues. But when I'm talking about the safety, they are interested and they're worried about it. And unfortunately, I asked them, you guys wanted to change it, now you got a new council. And they said, I didn't know they are stupidly bad. How they're gonna taking away our safety officers, fire and police. And not only that, we raising the water and the trash without any proper bidding. They don't care about our money. They care about their compass system. Somebody representing the trash company, they want to have it. When I was mayor, when I was council, I got 3 times requesting that agenda in the agenda. I've been rejected. And they run the council. Now they got the new council. They wanted to get the pay for the people to pay for that. And Major D bond, that's gimmick. Why? Because we issue the bond, but we're not spending the money for the big project. Just little by little, then why we not doing the every year we getting tax, we spend, fix the road by little. Why they want to have a big money? Just like they give the $7 million Major D money for the Grand Plaza. That's why we don't have a nice street, because they spend money for something else.
That's right.
They're abusing that.
Mr. Kim, just want to remind you that when you speak, please address your questions this way.
Sure, yes, I do. I have to move it.
We know you're campaigning, but...
No, I'm not campaigning.
Please just address your comments to the council.
That's a stupid comment you are doing it. You make me more famous.
Infamous.
Yes. Thank you for your helping my campaign.
Sorry, Mr. Kim, go ahead. Just direct yourself to us, Mr. Kim.
And council, not that. We sending our tax money to the Grand Plaza every couple $100,000 years. It was last year $600,000. Next year is going to be $700,000. Our tax money is going in. Okay? And all those things is good enough to start recalling them. That's the only way. They're not resigning. They're not doing their jobs. Only recall the way. I got all the paperwork ready. I just need it to when it's going to be. I don't care about interrupting my campaigning, but I will do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. Catalina Acosta? Catalina Acosta.
She's going to need some help. Do you want to give her the microphone, Ben?
La señorita se va a acercar a usted a darle el micrófono, señora, para que no tenga que venirse hasta acá. Thank you. Tiene 3 minutitos para platicarnos.
Tengo que leer esto. Es que venimos, nosotros somos del Hotel de ANSA, yo sé español, no sé inglés.
Adelante.
Traemos un problema que pensamos que aquí, como son los de la ciudad, mandan, nos podrían ayudar. En el Hotel de ANSA tenemos muchos problemas. Últimamente se han metido personas amantes del ajeno. Hace poquito se metió un muchacho muy joven. La señora estaba dormida a las 2 de la mañana. Abrió la puerta sin dificultad. Se metió, se llevó toda la bolsa completa, documentos y todo. Que la propia policía de aquí, de Calexico, le ayudaron hasta que encontraron la bolsa. Nosotros solicitamos que nos ayuden para tener guardia. Antes, en los primeros años que se abrió ese hotel teníamos guardia. Después del terremoto lo quitaron y ha sido un problema muy grande para nosotros porque ya no podemos defendernos, ya pasaron los años, ya solo andamos con andadera, muchos, casi todos. Entonces solicitamos la ayuda de todos ustedes, al que corresponda, que traigo esta, si quiere la dejo para que ahí la tienen. Para que la estudien, examinen el problema y a ver si calificamos para un guardia.
¿Perdón?
Que sí calificamos para un guardia.
¿Sí?
La escucho.
Ahí de noche no tenemos más que los puros ancianos que estamos ahí. El de mantenimiento se va para su casa. La manager también, nos quedamos completamente solos. No es como en los primeros años que se quedaba una manager y se quedaba el guardia. Ahora ya no, estamos completamente solos de noche.
City Manager.
Cuando algo pasa y alguna de nosotros se anima a salir a llamar a la policía, salimos. Gracias a Dios que ellos pronto llegan y nos ayudan.
City Manager, in this case, the information, un momentito, señora, le voy a explicar bien rapidito al administrador. The City Manager, the information she's providing is with regard to possibly a management issue with regard to DeAnza.
Yeah, I can.
So, would we
I
tell
believe
her?
Chelsea Investments is the
Yes,
the
it is.
right
The management group, correct.
management group. Correct.
As a matter of fact, this is something that we have begun to look into in recent days because of some matters that need to be addressed with management there. So.
Thank you.
Me dicen los administradores que van a estar al pendiente, están ya al pendiente del asunto. Si ahorita antes de que se vaya usted, tómele la tarjetita a ellos, ¿ok? Para que ustedes estén en comunicación con ellos.
Señora Catalina, acá estoy, no me alcanza a ver.
Yo soy Catalina.
De este lado.
Acá está señora Catalina. Señor Figueroa.
Es una cuestión que ya empezamos.
Perdone que me casi me
No se preocupe.
Pero sí caminamos allá. Gracias.
Thank you, Mr. Figueroa.
No se preocupe, miren, rápidamente nada más. Es una cuestión que ya empezamos a ver, independientemente de esto, que le agradecemos que nos comunique la situación que está sucediendo, porque son cuestiones que ahorita estamos viendo con la administración ahí del hotel de ANSA. Entonces, con gusto, vamos a darle seguimiento a esto. Personalmente podemos trabajar con usted para ver qué es lo que va a suceder de esto, ¿no? Entonces, gracias, le agradecemos su tiempo.
Muchas gracias a ustedes todos por atendernos y esperamos nos ayuden. A ver si tenemos guardia para dormir a gusto en la noche, porque en el día, pues.
Gracias.
Entendido.
Muchas gracias, señora. Y para cualquier otra persona que desean saber un poco más o un poco más de apoyo, for anybody else that would like a little more help on these questions and stuff, we do have Mr. Miguel Figueroa, our Assistant City Manager, Mr. Figueroa, and Mr. David Dale is our City Manager. El administrador principal de la ciudad es el señor David Dale, aquí en medio. Say hi, David. Cuando necesiten, definitivamente acérquense y estamos aquí para ayudar a ir resolviendo, ¿no? Muchas gracias a todos. Ahí vamos. Uno más. Next public comment is Pierre Sawaya. Hope I pronounced that correctly.
Thank you, Mayor, Council members, for allowing me the opportunity to speak here tonight. My name is Pierre Sawaya, and I'm the Vice Principal at Calexico High School, where my professional interactions with the police department and our school SRO occur on a daily basis. My purpose for speaking here tonight is to discuss the role the police department, and namely our school SRO, has had in keeping our school safe. I work with our SRO on investigations at our school site. Our SRO's expertise is required in roughly 70% of the issues we handle. He is present during interviews with parents and students, where he provides a much-needed law enforcement presence and perspective. He advises parents and counsels students. He helps build good relationships with parents and students, thereby providing significant help to administration and staff regarding safety. Additionally, SRO provides safety to our school as he has in-depth knowledge of the neighboring community. His presence has provided for quick responses to potential safety risks, from responding to calls for welfare checks and questioning individuals wanting access to our campus, to meeting with kids at risk. SRO is an integral part of keeping our students and staff safe. Thank you for your time.
Last but not least, Mr. Jack Tapia. My favorite.
Mayor Hurtado, City Council members, fellow citizens, my name is Joaquin Tapia, Jack Tapia, no le hace. 20 Kincaid, Calexico. I am for the police department to stay in Calexico and not disband them. My solution to that is that they are understaffed. Why don't we have NRA members volunteer to do some of the work? I never heard any volunteer member going berserk. Never. Nationwide or locally. Why don't you people volunteer to do some of this, take over some of the jobs at the police department, help them out, for crying out loud. And give them a little break. I have a solution for our financial crisis, but I don't know if it's legal or not, and I won't mention it until I find out if it's legal. I talked to somebody, and he told me that I was crazy.
You gotta say. Now you gotta say.
You piqued our curiosity.
You're not keeping secrets now.
Well, maybe who is the the city legal?
Mr. Campos.
I don't
Carlos.
know, why don't we have a city, a city lottery? Everybody would want to win, and Calexico would win and pay it off. And that would be carried on by a blue ribbon people that we can trust, because everybody's interested in putting money in their pockets. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Not a bad idea. I like that,
Alrighty. That is the end of the public comments. Mr. Kim, where are you? Don't go away. We still have a couple more for you. But besides that, I think that's it on the public part of our comments. So now we're going to go to the City Council for their comments, starting with Mr. Escobar over here on my right. If you'd like to.
Quickly attended a SBDC advisory committee meeting today. I think it is a small business development center. It's basically a free consulting services for businesses, for entrepreneurs. I believe Mr. Figueroa is fully aware of the entity and has worked closely with them in the recent past. Again, we do not utilize the resources that we currently have in the Imperial Valley, especially in Calexico. We have so many dilapidated businesses. This is a free consulting service. It's partially funded by Small Business Administration, the SBA. So I am an advisory member there, and I fully support them. And I think their mission is great, which is to assist the entrepreneurs of the world in getting their business started, assist existing businesses in getting their businesses, their finances, their sales revenue increased, their marketing materials updated, etc. So again, I'm a proponent of SBDC. And I welcome the community to look into their website, look into Facebook, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pacheco.
Since summer is approaching, Mr. Dale, and I know that the issue of having the swimming pool open for the summer, and I know funding is in dire need of keeping a swimming pool and a swimming program and hiring people to lifeguard and someone to man and maintain the cleaning of the pool. Is there any way other than us providing all the, is there grants out there? Is there any other way to help support the summer needs for this city?
I had this for the report, but yes, we are going to seek funding to see what we can do and what we can get for that, to have a pool open during the summer,
yeah,
at least a couple days a week, if possible.
That's good. That's good. That was my only concern. And tennis court lights they're on as I cruise my town. Those high school tennis court lights are on. Is there a timer that turns them off?
It's in the high school?
At the tennis courts.
Yeah, we'd have to talk to the
It's 9 o'clock and nobody's there and the lights are on. All courts. You could lose a dime and find it. You could throw it. Ahí está. All the lights are on.
We'd have to talk to the high school about that. Yeah.
Okay, that was it. We're just wasting our resources there and our energy. That's all I have.
That's it.
Oh, you go.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for being here. I think it was those public comments sometimes, they're kind of long, but that's the way that the council really hears everybody out, and I think it's really important. I want to thank our police department for being here, and everybody from the school district left. But I really wanted to, hopefully they would have stayed, because they touch on something that's really important, and that is obviously our police department in the city of Calexico, and having our this board or council members, give safety to all in Calexico, not just the students and the people, everybody involved in the city. One of the things that I was thinking as this was going on was, I understand the school board has, what is it, one school resource officer, or is it two? It's just one. But they have, I don't know, what, 10 schools in Calexico? I mean, I don't know the exact number, but it's students in the thousands. There's no way that one school resource officer can completely take care of all those schools. And that's something that Chief Gerardo and maybe city manager and everybody should get together with the superintendent. I wish he was here, and with their board and say, no, you guys need to pitch in more, because, you know, when things happen in the school, it's not that single resource officer that can take care of it. You guys are literally patrolling the schools all day. Am I right, or right? You guys are patrolling them all the time. So we should go to that school district, to that school board, and say, you know what, you need to help out. And it's times like this where, you know, it's crunch time. The city, you know, is strapped for cash, and look at you know, look at what we're having to even look at. Now, I don't think anybody up here, you know, thought, well, I'm going to run for council and somehow, you know, that's a plan I have, or it's not like that. If the council has looked at other options, because it gets to a point where you have to. And so that's important that we go to the schools district. The superintendent, the way he spoke up here, and everybody wants to keep the Calexico Police Department, let's go to them and say, hey, give us a yearly grant, give us some money. You know, help us out. This is a time where the school district and the city have to come together and help with this issue. Not just, well, we're just going to pay for one officer all year, and we still want service 365 days a year, even when they break in June, July, and August when it's closed, and we want someone there when the pool's open in summer, and we're not. You know, that's if they want the Calexico Police Department the same way the city and we want it, then we all need to come together. I just want to make that comment. So, thank you. Sure.
Sorry to interrupt, but Mr. Real, the school superintendent had already reached out to me this morning, and he was asking about the contract, and they're going to see how much money they have in their budget for this coming fiscal year to see if we can fund at least another SRO, and then in the future try to fund an additional one.
Well, I think they can help us a lot more. They got a $90 million budget. They can help us more than we can.
Baby steps. If I can get them to fund one more and another one, that I think it's progress.
Sounds good.
All righty, Mr. Hodge.
Yes, Mr. Pacheco brought up the pool, and I want to thank Mr. Dale, city manager, for inviting me. We did have a meeting with the school district, and we are working on different options, and they seemed very open in trying to help us, and so it was a collaborative effort. And I do want to thank all the educators, school district being here. I think that was very impressive in supporting the police department, as I do, as I support them. And I'm very happy that we're going to continue in meeting and conferring. So that's my comment.
All righty. Thank you. Well, I would like to add that this weekend we did have an event at the Kennedy Gardens. That was for Arbor Day and a couple other things, safety, public safety, and health. It was a very successful event. Congratulations to Mr. Javier Gonzalez and everyone else that participated in that event, and especially the volunteers and the parents that helped their kids out there. They had a sparring event and things like that. So it was a really beautiful day. It has been many beautiful days in Calexico, just a little windy. So the Beautiful Days of Calexico also received the Vice President on Monday, and I'd like to thank the Calexico Police Department for your professionalism in having received him and allowed him to come and take a look at our project here locally. I think it's really important, though, that we would have had an opportunity to let him know that we also need a new port of entry besides our new replacement, but we didn't get that opportunity. That would have been really nice. But in a way, we kind of think about that because we just had an anniversary for the 7.2 earthquake that we had in 2010, and one thought is a lot about how this old port of entry, which was built approximately late 70s, correct, withstood a 7.2 earthquake, and will it withstand another if we were to have one? So think a lot about that, and hopefully our government will also watch and realize that not only do we need a fence replacement, we also need a new port of entry itself. So hopefully that funding will come in miraculously one day. I also had a meeting with the Calexico Consul, Mr. Flores. We also discussed the Vice President's visit, a couple of other issues that are not necessarily local, but we talked about some of the refugees coming to Tijuana and what that means for the city of Calexico as well with the consulate, and knowing that we have a local Mexican consulate, how important it is to keep his office here because our citizens need that so much. So thank you, Mr. Figueroa. I know that you also met with them and continued that collaboration. Thank you. Tomorrow, we are leaving, a few of us, to the SCAG, Southern California Associations of Governments meeting. That will be Mr. Hodge, myself, and Mr. Figueroa. So we will be returning then on Friday for that. And last but not least, we also have the wonderful yearly event, which is the Mariachi Festival, and that will be held at Crummett Park. Is the big event, the actual concert. That will be May the 19th at Crummett Park, but the festivities begin from May the 16th through May the 19th. Thank you very much, Hildy Carrillo, and as the Executive Director of the Calexico Chamber of Commerce, and all of the committee that worked so hard. This is the 27th year that Calexico has had this signature event, so we hope that you can join us. Thank you.
May I just add a comment? I would just like to say that regarding people that come up here, specifically Mr. Kim, and to the mayor as well. You know, it says here on public comments that a person cannot delay a council meeting with slanderous remarks, and every time he comes up here, he slanders people on the council and the whole council for that matter. Mayor, you need to put a stop to that. Thank you.
Trying as best as we can. Get some people a little too quick for me. All righty. City Manager's report.
Yeah, as was discussed, we are going to be seeking pool funding for the summer program. And also wanted to add to that what you mentioned about the vice president. Our fire department also was involved in that.
I didn't see pictures of them, sorry.
Yeah, the ambulance was a part of the procession, and our esteemed fire chief actually shook his hand and took a picture with him. So did our interim police chief. Both of them, they got a chance to say hi, and so that was
Just
pretty
really
cool.
proud of you all. I mean, that was a big thing, and that was awesome. Nice and smooth. Thank you.
Our Cordova Park Playground project is nearing completion. That's going to be, if you've seen that, that's pretty cool. It's going to be a really nice playground area, and that's probably within the next week or two. Going to be complete and ready. We're going to also add lighting. I don't know what the schedule on the lighting is, but we'll be adding lighting to that. And in terms of the port schedule, it looks like, huh?
Port of entry?
Port of entry, the new port of entry in Calexico. It will be opening southbound lanes, it looks like early July. The northbound appears sometime in September, October. Will open in that. The northbound will remain in the existing port until September. We'll open southbound. It looks like that's the schedule. Cesar Chavez project is started to advertise, and that will be starting construction sometime in July. We plan to keep 2 lanes open so that we can keep that traffic going. So we'll see how that goes. That's probably a 6 to 8 month project. So we're looking in a January, early February timeframe of completion on that, on the Cesar Chavez widening project. We also have a De Las Flores project that we're finishing up the design phase for. That's between Cloak and Edie. That's going to complete that street that's just south of William Moreno Junior High School. And we go out, as I mentioned the last meeting, we're starting our last Measure D project, which was from the last Measure D funding. We'll be starting that within the next 2 to 3 weeks as well, which I showed which streets were on that project. So, and also I have Miguel would like to say something.
Just one comment. We have been working for quite some time, and we finally were able to get the Regional Water Quality Control Board, Region 7, out of Palm Desert, that represents Imperial County, to come to Calexico and actually convene one of their meetings, their board meetings. That's going to take place May 14th. And the great news about that is we continue to bring the attention and the need to continue to fund our project specifically for the border and for the New River. So we're going to have the dignitaries in town. They're going to conduct business here at the chambers. And from there's going to be a short tour of the project. As we talked about this 2 meetings ago, currently right now, $1.8 million are being spent on the remediation plans for the New River from the border fence to the 2nd Street Bridge, which impact the Port of Entry project that Mr. Dale just talked about. So the community is obviously invited to attend. It's a public meeting, and obviously the City Council.
Any questions, gentlemen? Okay. All right, so we're going to move on now to the consent agenda of our meeting. I would like to actually pull an item myself for clarification and discussion towards the public, which is item number 12. So if I can have a motion.
Motion to approve 8, 9, 10, and 11.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
12 for discussion?
Yes, 12 for discussion. Reject all bids received for sport lighting at Joel Risen Field, project number 2018-200. City Manager, you told me that you would help me out to understand, or rather that the public understand what that means.
Yes, Madam Mayor. We got a grant. The city received a grant from IID in the amount of $150,000 to do lighting at that park. And it appears that the bids came in well over $300,000 into the $400,000 range. And so we started to have discussions with the low bidder.
Please.
We started having discussions with the low bidder with regard to cutting out some of the project. And we discussions with the city attorney that we can't do that. We need to have another plan. Also had that discussions with the IID board member, Mr. Ortega. He's looking into some potential of getting some free labor with the electrical unions. So we may have enough funds to do that project in the end, but at this time we don't. So.
And Joel Risen is the softball field, the one that was.
Yes.
They keep trying to improve.
Sapphire. Yeah. I used to live down there.
Okay.
So we're not abandoning that project, but this is a necessity.
So the rejection is in order to be able to find other options.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any questions, gentlemen? Motion for its approval?
I'll make the motion. Oh, sorry.
Second by Mr. First by myself. Second by Mr. Real. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Alrighty, discussion and potential action items. We'll be here for item number 13 now. Mr. Kim, I promise you'd be able to speak on this one. This is approval of construction of restroom facilities by Calexico Parents Athletic League, CPAL, at the Retention Basin Park located at Andrade Avenue and 5th Street, a city-owned property, and authorization for city manager to enter into a maintenance agreement with CPAL. Go ahead, Mr. Kim.
Hi. So again, well, this is another what's called the slendery comments. Okay. When I was council, I put in the agenda, put all the water basin, put the restroom, and the council wasn't supported. I'm glad that now they have idea they're gonna support it to put in the basin, the restroom in the basin. It's good. But as I believe you need to go to a little more proactive. I'd rather see the restroom there. I'd rather see the concession center. So any sports project, they have a concession center. At least their game day, they can sell drink and little things, and instead of caritos on safety. So they can have some fun to maintaining their entity and their group to supporting the kid. I believe this is the first step, probably to go to all the water basin. If they have a fund available, then let them do it so they can take care of their own business there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. Okay, City Manager, do you have any comments on item number 13?
I'm going to call up Ralph.
Hello, Mr. Morales.
Mr. Morales.
How many toilets are we talking about here?
Just one, no?
Did you have to say it that way?
Okay. Mayor, council members, as we know that in the city of Calexico, the retention basins are being utilized as parks. And the reason why is because there's a big demand for sporting events that are going on, and there's not sufficient parks. One of the biggest problems is that these retention do not have restroom facilities, And usually what happens, it discourages the residents from going to the parks and enjoying the events that are going on due to the lack of restrooms. Now, CPAL is proposing to construct a restroom facility at the retention basin or the park, and they're proposing to construct this on the corner of Andrade Avenue and 5th Street. What this will do then, it will provide the facility that's necessary for the visitors, and that they can not only enjoy the sporting event, but also be able to utilize a restroom facility. CPAL is proposing to construct the building, all labor and materials for the construction project that would be donated by the CPAL, and they would be privately sponsored. So there would be no monetary monies that would come from the city, but it would all be through donations, and CPAL would be responsible in acquiring these donations, both material and labor-wise. CPAL would be required to submit construction plans to be reviewed, which they have already. The other thing that CPAL will be required to acquire a state license contractor with a B license so that we could assure that the construction is done properly. This type of construction would be a block wall, and so they would acquire the proper contractor and labor to be able to put this construction together. The other thing too, that there would be an agreement between, if it is the desire of the council to work with CPAL in this facility, there would be an agreement that would be put together that CPAL would have to agree to assure that the project moves smoothly, and that everything that needs to be done would be done appropriately by the building code and through the state requirements.
Ralph, are they registered as a nonprofit?
As far as my understanding, I would say no, but I'm not sure about that.
Would that be a problem, Mr. Campos?
It would need to be some sort of legal entity, whether a private or a nonprofit.
We don't know if they are a nonprofit.
I'm not sure. I would say that they're not.
Would that be a restriction? Would that hold it back?
We would probably want a legal entity or some sort of legal entity, or I guess it could be an individual too, obviously, if they have proper permits. But
who submitted paperwork under whose name?
The paperwork would have to be for the permit. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
It would have to be a licensed contractor. So we would not issue the permit to CPAL directly, but it would be a private contractor that would work with CPAL and make sure that they would become responsible for the construction and make sure that the work is done appropriately.
I think that Mr. Pacheco's where he's leaning towards is, making sure the city, that we have a legal entity that's actually doing this, whether it's a person or a nonprofit or however that goes. But I have some other questions.
Liability, and there's another issue, but we want to make sure we have everything
kosher.
Yeah, everything's on the up and up, and we have a sponsored restroom, and it's.
This would all be within the agreement that CPAL would execute along with the city. A rough draft has been prepared. It's been presented to both the city manager and the city attorney for review, and then if it needs to be adjusted or fixed, then it would be done to make sure that everything is done legally.
I have some questions regarding if there's going to be, that is a I hate to call it a park because it's not a park, but that is a field that has multi-sports. It has baseball backstops, and it's being used for soccer. Is there going to be an agreement where anybody can use those restrooms or not? In other words, I don't feel it's correct that only CPL will be able to use them, but that the city have the authorization to have a key and make sure everybody.
The city would own the restroom, correct?
Yes.
And the city would maintain the restrooms, correct?
Yes. Once the construction is done, then the key would be handed over to the city. The city would now, whichever department is in charge, would be responsible to
Maintain it.
work with the different groups, sporting groups, to utilize it. So it would not, the restroom would not belong to one group or one entity. It would be open up for everybody.
It belongs to the city.
Yeah.
It belongs to the city, yes.
Mr. Campos, this sounds like a PPP, a private partnership effort, which is good. It's very good. But we don't have a sample of the verbiage or what does it look like? Because this question that we're being asked right now is core to it, because I would love to see that continue, where we have public-private partnerships with our community and work like this. We've done it in the past before, but I'm not sure have we used actual agreements in the past before, some type of agreement where we can refer, because there's nothing in this one. But this is the beginning of really nice stuff. But maybe we need to have it a little more defined, how we're going to move forward with the PPP, if we want to call it a PPP.
PPP. Yeah, I mean, you can call it PPP, it would be appropriate name. I think city staff was trying to get direction that this was something the city was interested in. From the policy, right, you have a retention basin, and I think the city staff also wanted to make sure you were comfortable with having a structure built on a retention basin that's used for parks, so that was part of that.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
The question is if you're comfortable also with restrooms on retention basins, because it's considered a retention basin.
Yeah, I'm comfortable. I'm not hearing no hesitation on that.
And that restroom would probably see a lot of PPP. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a win for the city. The city's strapped for cash. It's going to be bonded. It's going to be licensed. I mean, the contractor will be bonded and licensed. The maintenance agreement, I mean, we basically have to maintain the facility. That's going to be donated to the city. To me, it's a no-brainer.
We're providing the maintenance on it, Mr. Dale, is that correct?
Yes.
We're responsible for cleaning and...
They're going to make it happen, but it's ours.
Well, we first started with the idea that they would provide the maintenance, but at the pleasure of the council, it sounds like that the city would rather...
Actually, that's true. This does say that they would do the maintenance.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah, but the maintenance should be held, and the control should be held by the city.
We did an estimate, it's around $8,000 to $10,000 a year to maintain it.
That much? Why?
Labor, materials, replacement of sinks.
Did he say a month?
8,000 a year to maintain.
Yeah, so either one, get direction to go ahead and formalize all these documents to ensure, right, the transfer to the city, to ensure the maintenance from the city, and tie up the loose ends. Another thought would be to bring back all that together as a package. So there's two ways we could do that. Either direction.
Comfortable with the idea, and then allow him to legally take the steps so we can make it happen.
I think
Yes.
we could
Or
do
give
things
or
together.
give
Why
or
would we want to wait? If they're willing and able to provide something to our city, which is in desperate need of these type of facilities, why wait? We can
Motion
do things in
to-
conjunction, assuming our city attorney is
direct us to finalize these documents. Also look at the legal structure to have a legal entity. So
Motion to approve item 13.
and to give us direction to go ahead and formalize Second. all the documents, all the agreements.
We need to formalize the documents still.
Okay.
With the understanding that we have to formalize the
I'll
documents.
I'll resend my motion. I'll make a motion to approve item number 13, contingent on the formalizing of the documents.
Second.
Okay,
With the
first by
city
Mr. Real,
providing.
second by Mr. Hodge. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 14 is the appointment by myself to the Calexico Personnel Commission. I guess we don't really have to say much on this one, other than that we do need an appointment now because we have a case going on, right, City Manager?
Yes.
So you're asking me to appoint because we have a case. I'd like to be able to appoint Mr. Javier Moreno to the position. That is my selection, okay? We're sitting. Thank you, Mr. Moreno, for agreeing. Thank you.
Do you agree? Do you agree?
Speak now for everyone.
You accept your appointment, Mr. Moreno?
There you go.
Good, thank you. We really need you. All righty, number 15 is removal of Police Advisory Commission appointee by Mr. Real.
So I am putting on this. I put this on the agenda to remove my appointee to the Police Advisory Commission, and also to publicly put it out to for an opening for applicants. Thank you.
Okay.
Do we need to vote on that, or?
No, he just needs to formally make it. Alrighty, item number 16 is appointment of 2 council members to serve on the Cannabis Industry Ad Hoc Subcommittee.
Madam Mayor, I'm interested in that one.
Before that happens, Mr. City Manager, would you like to tell us? Because there was no backup.
Go ahead.
So one of the reasons why this is being brought forth to you is because as we move forward in the process of actually implementing items in the ordinances that were approved July 2017 by this council, we want to make sure that the council is receiving appropriate information on anything that has to do with this industry in our city. As a result of this, it's being proposed that a subcommittee be formed with the representation of the council, so we can have a method of communicating and talking about this at a higher level.
The recommendation of the appointment would be by the mayor or by the council in discussion?
No, what was discussed is by those that wish to participate. Right now, I understand that. It's basically up to the deliberation of the council, and you folks determine who has to be there.
You have a really bad microphone.
I know.
I didn't understand that last part.
The council is voting on who they want on that subcommittee, pretty much.
I've had discussions with a council member that I feel very comfortable, I guess, in the neutrality I think that needs to happen here with regard to the subject matter. So I do feel that Mr. Escobar.
Can you elaborate on the neutrality part?
There's always pros and cons, and in my discussions, I think that there's a real neutral thinking that we need to probably do, and I think that Mr. Escobar holds that. I'd like to ask you, Mr. Escobar, if you would like to help us out with that one.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so, and
I also showed interest.
Okay.
I'd work very well with Mr. Escobar, even though he's taller than me.
Alrighty. Gentlemen, I don't see where we need to actually vote on it. Do we, Mr. Campos?
Either vote, or as long as we have a clear consensus. So we just need to make sure that everybody or majority is on board, whether by a vote or by a consensus. And if it's not clear, sometimes voting just makes it. That way we didn't have a clear consensus or a vote. So.
I mean, we can always remove them, right? If they're not doing the
An
good job, right?
An ad hoc
we can have
committee.
them kidnapped or something.
All right. So
an ad hoc committee doesn't have any. It's an advisory ad hoc committee. Any action.
Motion to accept these 2 individuals.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
You will be fired if you don't do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll try to do my best for you, Mandy.
Okay, thanks, guys, then.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
No, not yet.
Oh,
we have still one more. And you have Mr. Kim that still wants to come up. Hi, Mr. Kim. Come on, Mr. Kim. This is your last opportunity.
We miss him.
Item number 17, which is introduce and waive first reading of ordinance number 2018- blank space, an ordinance in the city of Calexico amending section 2.02110 and chapter 2.07 of the Calexico Municipal Code regarding the appointment process and duties of the city clerk. Go ahead, Mr. Kim.
Hi, again. This is another one, slanderous comments. The city clerk supposedly elected position was, and failed to maintain in good stance, and they changed the law appointing. So when they appointed position, appointed by the city manager, has power hire and fire. So when I was council, when we wanted to put the agenda, we couldn't put the agenda because the city manager said, no, city clerk has to follow the city manager's order. So we're going to give the city manager full power to control over the city. And we have to go through the law process to calling the meeting. It's not meaning it's any city manager is going to be doing or not going to doing. It's a systemically we have to have secure our right of the calling the meeting. If they don't, there's the last ordinance is not repealing the city manager's appointments power. It was not solely cannot do it with they have to do with the council together. So if you don't want to keeping that way, why don't you put on the agenda to go to election position again? That way, city clerk is away from any outside forces to interrupting her jobs or his jobs. We're just going back to with the risking us again, and the city clerk's job position is implementing by the city manager or administration. The city clerk has to follow the order. City clerk is supposed to be individually to by the rules and laws to keep in that way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim.
I have a comment on that, city attorney. My understanding is for that to happen, it doesn't, I mean, the council, I guess, could do it, but realistically, it's the people that would have to gather up the signatures to put it on the ballot to go ahead and make it a city clerk, an elected position again, correct?
Yes, previous to 2012, in the elected position, a measure was taken to the voters, and the voters approved making an appointment.
Correct.
If we wanted to change that and make it an elective position, we'd have to put a measure on the ballot for November or another election, and the voters of Calexico.
So, Mr. Kim, if it's not a council issue, it's a people issue. You can look for the signatures, and if you get it done, you put it on the ballot, and good luck to you. No, thank you. You need some signatures to put on the ballot.
So, as far as introducing and waiving the first reading, do we need to handle anything else, City Attorney?
No, and just overall, I think I was expressed what this ordinance does is take it back to having the city manager, the city clerk be appointed by the city manager and under be the demotion, promotion, the like be under the direction of the city manager. That's the way it was previously.
Okay.
So it's for
to
council consideration.
I know we don't.
Is that what we're voting on right now?
Yes.
Correct.
Well, that's what I was asking. I don't believe it's a vote. It's just a first reading.
There's an ordinance in place right now, the 1144.
Correct. And the ordinance before you would revise the two sections of the municipal code to allow to provide that the city manager would appoint the city clerk. I mean, it also provided a subcommittee of 2 members of city council could also would assist city manager in making that determination.
Okay. So no need to vote on it.
Well, that's the ordinance before you, for your consideration.
We're just reinstating it, basically.
You're going back to what you had in place.
So we do have to vote on it then.
You do. It's an
okay.
ordinance.
Motion to approve.
And we have to amend the municipal code to provide
Motion
that.
to approve.
Okay, motion by Mr. Real, seconded by Mr. Escobar.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
I would like, I know we don't have future agenda items, but one of the things that I was expecting to see on here was the ADU, and it's not on here.
Do you want that to
Next
be a
meeting?
future
Okay.
agenda item?
No, that's just something, it was a continuance, so it should have been on this item, on this agenda, or.
Only because we're changing it, so that's why we had to.
All right, but it's coming though.
Yes.
All right. Got people with hammers ready. They broke ground already, but
Do you guys want to skip the future agenda items? Or does anybody have anything? All right. You don't mind? City Manager, do you have any future agenda items?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Thank you very much.